right now, I would like to quote one of the discussion I was having with my mother. So I
Okay.
was sitting with my mom and I was like discussing about this fact that, there are a lot of people in and around who are doing this private MA thing.
Mm,
So, you don't have to go even single time to
okay.
like the institute and stuff. You'll sit at your place. You have to just go give exams and you'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is being, one of the craziest form of getting education. That's what I was having a discussion with my mom. I'm like, masters is never about, just let's say it's just not about getting to, just go give exams, come back. No. It's about the exposure, it's about the mindsets you meet. But somewhere or the other, due to this globalization and stuff, and due to, that money heist that each of the individual has. So she
Mm-hmm.
even really quoted that today everyone is running behind this money. Makes sense. But,
Mm-hmm.
the experience that we talk of, or we would have had, but people really don't count that in. So that is also a perspective towards it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people do this. Maybe symbiosis distance programs. There are a lot of Indira Gandhi means IGNU. They also provide this kind of distance learning programs. B.Ed. They also
Yeah.
give B.Ed degrees. But
And then there is
recently
also PhD. Like
distance
recently I met
PhD.
this individual. Yeah, I won't, quote this name because this person, after you publish it, she is a subscriber of mine. So I
Mhm.
won't say her name. And, I was having a discussion lately with her and she's like, hey, I'm a doctor. And I'm like, how come you are a doctor? And I did a PhD. And I'm like, when did this happen? I never heard of you going to any college and stuff online. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, wow. And then when I asked this fellow, I said, can you show me your thesis? I'm not really sure why did she said so and stuff. She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that yeah has never came. It's been
Mhm.
months after that. So, that's also a side, to really think about where it is all going.
Yeah, but actually, as my understanding, this distance learning thing maybe started because there are a lot of people who are working somewhere and they want to
Mm-hmm.
upgrade, because if they
Mm.
upgrade a degree, they get some kind of exposure in their job. One thing, another thing, there are a lot of people who can't move from this place to this place. They they
Mm.
don't want to maybe change a job, or maybe they can't go, maybe because of some responsibility, maybe uh, they have a kid or something like that, so they can use this kind of distance learning program, and after that they have a degree, so using that degree they can start applying nearby places. But
There's always a
now
good and bad perspective towards things, but I have always seen that,
but
sometimes we being humans have this very ability of molding things
yeah,
in our ways.
but
So that's
now
how it is.
actually education system is gone into the hand of politicians. So basically the media house is also in the hand of politician. The education health sector is also in the hand of politicians. So they want they want to settle their black money through this whole system, and they also want to earn from the system. So maybe you have seen in IITs and IIMs and a lot of this organization having this kind of certification, lot of certification programs. So sometimes you get confused that early days they have a very core programs, 3 4 programs, but now you see 20 programs, 30 programs, and they also add one more advancement. People who have a money, so they can go to study in 6 month Dubai, 6 month in Singapore, or 6 month Malaysia, or 6 month Dubai, 1 year MBA program, something like global MBA program, something
Mhm.
like that. In IIM as well,
Yeah.
uh, there are a lot of other institute also do these kind of things.
I think that is termed as student exchange program, if I'm not wrong.
No, no, it's not student section program. It's a degree program where they study in
Okay.
multiple places. They have
Oh,
their
that's a
campus.
great thing.
They have their
Mm-hmm.
campus, or sometimes they partner with them as well.
Mm.
TEAS
Got
also
it.
launched this kind
That's
of
good.
program. TEAS also recently launched this kind of program. They have partnered with Australian University. So students, actually it looks like a student exchange, but actually it's not. The Indian students study there, and they get a kind of partial degree over there, partial degree here, so something like that. Actually, I want to discuss more with the person who really got experience. But right now, uh, so it's not a student exchange program. It's a kind of this. They have set up this kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, so something like that. And even IIT also started there is called NPTEL. So they have a pre-recorded all their classroom lectures, and they organize. So basically, they also start distributing certificates if you clear their semester-wise or paper-wise exams. So they give certificate. I don't know how much that useful in the job market. It looks like you have a IIT degree, but I don't know. Maybe it is useful for job or not. Maybe I need to ask to someone. But if you, as an example, if you are in
Mm.
the IT sector, so if you have a certification of Microsoft or Oracle or SAP, so the value of that certification is very high. You will get a job very fast on the basis of that certification. So they have that kind of
Mm.
standard, but I don't know about these things.
I can just quote one of this example that I have. So there was this one of my friend who used to do a lot of things from Coursera. So I hope
Coursera, yeah,
everybody knows about Coursera for now, yeah.
yeah, EDX,
And
Coursera.
then this guy used to, like literally have his classes, which are obviously pre-recorded classes, and then you have to give like a test and stuff after that much amount of time. Sometimes you even have live classes and you take a subscription for that. And then with the course of time, I have observed that, thank you. And then with the course of time, I have observed that he got to get through that exam by, chat GPTing the whole thing.
Okay. Wow.
And I was like quite surprised. I'm like, why are you paying this much amount of money?
To get a
If you just
certificate.
want to do just to get a certificate, and the guy is like, oh, it adds. When we talk about how much does it add, yes, with the term, when I'll just particularly talk about education, because I think I am from that field, so it would be great if I speak in that area and not the other areas. But I have seen this happening in and around that people do just random courses. Okay. Like when I say random courses, let's say this program in school leadership, for
Mm-hmm.
example. I wonder, and doing it online. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it offline, then at least you'll get through which way this person who's delivering the content is, coming hence and forth with you. Just people I have seen, they don't understand that part.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just learn, they'll just, read those readings by suggested by them, they'll just hear to that content. And then, that lead them to develop a lot of arrogance in them. I have seen that happening with a lot of individuals. They have
Mm-hmm.
done 10x courses from online stuff, and then they develop this very thing ki, haha, I
So
know, come on,
basically,
don't teach me.
so basically
So
they
there's
want
also a
to
negative add to it.
feed their LinkedIn profile, like
Absolutely. That is
push
one of
their.
the core factors. And then you can also put that into your CVs and resumes. So when, you'll have a long CV stating that, when there's a section called others. So I have seen people using actively in those parts. So whichever
Mm-hmm.
trainings you are doing, whichever courses you are doing, you're putting that in. And that gives the recruiter that feeling that, okay, you are a learned fellow. So,
Mm-hmm.
just to have that add to it
Yeah.
is how all these things are being used, to be a bit precise.
And one more thing I want to add, as an example, when I was doing my BTech, so over there in our means the professor, they are just graduate students. So actually, my college was not a very good college. So yeah, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Jay, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
So basically, so at that
Your
time,
voice always comes to me 2 minutes late. So even if you are saying something and I start speaking, it's for a fact because your voice comes 2 seconds or just it's a fraction of some seconds actually.
yeah, I am sitting in the Mars. That's why it's little bit delay.
Maybe. Or maybe
Yeah,
you are sitting far away from your Wi-Fi
yeah,
in the parallel universe.
parallel universe. That's true. So actually, in early days, I don't understand the concept of parallel universe, but after watching so many Marvel movies, now this term is
Mm-hmm.
they are using everywhere, and now everybody understand how they build this thing since 10, 20 years. They are doing this thing to
Mm-hmm.
build the whole concept of building this kind of superheroes and parallel universe and movie plot, something like that. So basically, I want to say that when I was in the college, so at that time, there are a lot of concepts I didn't understand. So there is one website called lynda.com, and one website is called Plural Site. So both having very good tutorials of C, C++, Java, and all kind of programming stuff, management related stuff, and things like that. So at that time, I started watching them, and I really learned real basic concept. After that, I also use there are some Stanford or that kind of, yeah, Stanford, they also publish their classroom to clarify your basic concept of programming, and they also made a very very good video series. And I feel that if in my college I learn in this way, or if my college just allow us to just watch this with some person, under observation of some person, and do some exercise, that will be good, rather than just listening to the boring graduate student of that college. So
See, Jay, what you are saying just brings me to another point. Boring class is the word that you are quoting, right?
not a boring
This is something
class.
that.
They don't have
Mm-hmm.
a they actually, this video series made by 10, 15 year of experience of people who have that field experience. So they made, and they can explain a very better way with very good examples from scratch. But
Mm-hmm.
the graduate students they also don't have a clarification of these concepts. So that is the problem, and I also I used to go, so actually my mind is little bit slow comparatively, but I I don't mug up, means I can't mug up the things, remember the things for exams. So I also watch a lot of edx courses, coursera courses, nptel courses related to management, related to education technology as well. Few courses I also study about psychology, and few study about studies of different countries, like Chinese studies and things like that. So I also do these things, and I clarify a lot of my doubts about different things. But when it times for giving exams, I don't remember the things. But the things I want to learn, I learn. So something like that. And yeah,
No, no, that's good.
I
But
was,
when you are saying this word boring classes, instead of
yeah,
having boring classes, getting to, under observation, this
yeah,
brings me to a point that there has to be like an active pedagogy that I talked to you
yeah,
lastly, if you could remember.
yeah,
And that's where I'm coming from. So,
yeah,
sitting into those discussions for 4 hours of classes and
yeah.
you are dozing off. And,
And
the teacher is dozing off, you are dozing off, and then, you're feeling helpless in that classroom.
yeah,
And instead of that, why don't we do something, like, let's say, take students on an educational trip. Now, when we say educational trip, I've seen this another trend with students. They're like, oh, it's going to be boring.
mm,
So, if they have a good bond with their HRT or the class teacher,
mm.
HRT is the new word for class teachers these days. So, if they
What is
have a
the full
good bond
form?
with them, they'll go.
Head of
That is homeroom teacher, to be
home?
bit precise. homeroom teacher, HRT.
Homeroom teacher. Okay.
So
Okay.
these days we don't call class teachers, we call them HRTs.
Mhm.
And that's basically for smaller grades. But now earlier this was being coined for pre-primary, primary stuff. But
Mhm.
then with the course of time, with the growing, taking students as, the children of your own and stuff. So now pretty much all the teachers are being referred as HRTs, the class teachers basically. So,
Mhm.
when they have a good bond, they'll go to that place. Once they'll go, I've seen this thing with students. You don't tell them what to do, okay? Let them decide. The Montessori philosophy, I would like to quote that they don't want the individual, like there were a lot of schools, who believe in Ahmedabad particularly. There are a lot of schools with those beautiful concepts like the Montessori philosophy. Hyderabad has a lot of such schools. They don't want a teacher who would come and, will tell their students what to do. They just need a teacher who would come there and, would let the students, let's say, do what they want with a tint of guidance.
Mhm.
So when we talk about that boring class, this brings me to that discussion that I've had previously with some couple of my friends. That, when we talk about boring class, because we all had pretty much the same thing. We all were having, maybe in different streams, but we all were in the same boat. But
Mhm.
now there's a lot of awareness coming due to globalization and everything. And obviously, one more thing, Jeff, when we talk about, new things and XYZ things, I would say that I have landed up with certain people at times who would really say, XYZ to you. But when you work with them in reality, so when we say that internship doesn't count, but if you'll count my internships, I have had like
Mhm.
4 or 5 years of internships only in my past career. So because of that, if you'll count them, then I have an experience. I have seen people, literally like, the day you'll join them, they'll be like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. My organization is this. Once you just step into that, within 1 month, the reality comes.
Mhm.
I would really say that when you have an active pedagogy, which is quite different from the traditional one, you'll
Mhm.
really face a lot of things. Like, let's say, if I don't want my class to be boring, I'll ask my students to do something. For that fact, maybe they'll develop this feeling about me that, okay, she's my favorite teacher.
Mhm.
But we being humans sometimes envy that feeling that, oh, why is she the favorite? And then, what happens? And then there is this negativity and, a lot of politics that comes in. And that brings me to an article that I recently wrote. Um,
Mhm.
I'll share you the link of that.
Mhm.
Politics versus organization,
Mhm.
where I was quoting all of those incidences that, how it impacts the organization in a larger picture. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of series of things, like you are saying something and I'm braiding it into a very different direction. So I'll just focus
Okay.
on that's a good idea that you are saying. I would also try to incorporate that in my class as well, just to bring an outer reference to it.
Yeah. So one more thing I want to add up, actually I was preparing for CAT and those kind of exams. So in that
Great.
classroom, as I told you that I want to learn from scratch because I'm not that much. Some students who just know everything kind of thing. So just teacher
Mm-hmm.
come and give some sums and he learn very fast. So I try to tell them that I want to learn this from basic. Can you tell me how this happened? Can you explain me the steps or something like that? But they just want, their target is to get some IM. Means they want students who can get into the top schools. So basically, they are focusing on those kind of students to filter out their students and focus on them. They try to give extra class or give some extra
Basically
efforts.
preparing pamphlet students.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I was lacking over there. So at that time I started to find some YouTube videos and I watch repeat and clarify basic concept, and after that I start improving my maths and analytics and everything, data analytics and everything. So in that way I learned. And one more thing, in my 12th also one thing is happened. So actually there are different things. Means after 11th I was in a science background, so I changed my school. So after 11th I go to one classes in that. So at that time we have class. We go to one school uh, where we don't need to go, and we have to attend the private classes. So something like that.
Okay. Dummy.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I joined one classes with my uncle's reference. So actually, they recruit students who have a maybe 96, 97% in 10th. So all smart students are there. So I go there for 1 week, and I my mind was gone because they are not teaching anything basic concept. They start giving MSc maths, MSc physics, some and questions and something. They are discussing very far away. So I said this is not for me. So I need to change another where they can teach me from basic. So something like that. This kind of thing is also happening. So I feel that there are a lot of students are facing this kind of thing. And another thing is that recently I visit one education fair in our city. So I ask a few schools about the fees of a student. Maybe 8th standard. I ask about 8th standard. So they say 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh. So I think that if that kid graduated, how much money they put into for this one student. Uh, so I guess maybe 50, 60 lakhs around maybe they put into the kids' education. So I just want to ask how much fees in your school, if you like to share, of maybe different standard.
Jay, I would have loved to share that, but due to some of the organization policies, I think
Hmm.
I would be in a better
No, it's
health if I
okay.
don't say that. So,
Okay, and this kind of thing is also I experience. And one more thing I want to ask you, if you know anything about the education system of maybe Europe or other places, like how do they approach? Because I have a little bit of knowledge about Australia. So over there,
hmm
uh, you know, uh, kids leave their house at 18. So basically, most of the time they do a random small jobs, and they do basic certification or diploma courses from like our ITI. So that they have that kind of institute, and over there, after that they start earning a little bit of money, and after doing some maybe 2 3 years of earning, they apply for university, and after
hmm
they study, and even they are studying, while they are studying they also can work. So uh, we have never seen this kind of thing, like 18 years students are going for earning, because maybe they are not earning much, because they can't survive in that amount of money. Maybe if they are earning maybe 10,000, so even they can't pay for rent.
So before talking about that, so I would not be able to speak about the school I'm currently working in,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll talk about an international school that I was teaching before.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this system that literally the fee was 21 lakh
For how much?
for a grade, a grade.
1 year fees?
1 year, 21 lakh.
Oh my god, it's too much.
So those were the schools that I was earlier teaching in, and now if you'll
Wow,
see, then here it's like 21 lakh
that's
student,
too
like
it's
there was
too
like
high. I have never
it was
heard
a very
about
different
this.
experience. Yeah, indeed. And then now when you'll talk about this school, then obviously, I believe there's a lot of dynamics that impact the type of population you are catering to. So right now, the area that I'm working in is not that much posh that they can afford that much amount. So there's very bare minimum, very minimum
Mm-hmm.
type of fee to be given to the school. I hope I have now, just given you this hint that what it is going to be. It is very affordable,
No,
not
no,
in
it's okay.
comparison to 21 lakhs,
Yeah.
but obviously it's very less in comparison to 21 lakhs. Very, very less. Not even the 10th time is also.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Now, when we are talking about the other education system, so there was this this education system of this nation named as what is it? It's Florida or it's Flamingo. I'm just getting confused in the name of this nation. So one
Finland.
of my professor, Finland, yes, Finland, got it. So I was studying some of the documents, and then I was just researching about it, and that's when I got through this discussion through one of my professors who went there, and they were facilitating an education, venture of how they want their education system to be. So they have this Montessori philosophy thing going on with them, where they literally don't go to the student, and they have this very habit of empowering the students, which we generally don't see in normal or typical or technical schools, where you are not RA. That's
Mhm.
the approach. But when it comes to, let's say, the Finland thing, I didn't like, the professor was like, that doesn't work out that way. Students material, they spend most of the time in libraries. Okay, there are lectures where teachers are facilitating it, and it's not like that. The way we study in college, like in top-notch colleges, where professor is coming, giving you something, he's asking you to reflect, and then there's a discussion happening in the class. So those type of things are happening in the school. So there's a
Mhm.
perspective being built up that way. So that's what happens in that country. And also there was this thing that there was this some government discussion thing going on, where they were like, no, we should have this, like, we are gradually adapting to those systems of education.
Mhm.
And like those politicians, they were having some discussion, and they were like, we should adapt to the system of CCE, like comprehensive and that comprehensive and continuous evaluation. And we know what how it impacts the students. So, there is like, even when we are, let's say, 10 steps ahead, we'll still think of, that, okay, we were right there. And then, so that's the way it is in those countries, even. But the best part is that the Montessori philosophy, which is about, just guiding the student and letting him or her do whatever he or she wants, is something that is clearly visible. Like the example that you were quoting,
Mhm.
students are earning by their own selves. But in India, if you look at that, even when you're 25 years of age, 27, and even 30, and in some cases even 32, obviously females, so obviously there's this gendering thing, genderization, is that's the right word to use. But when it comes to males particularly, I have seen that happening. They're like, oh, no, no, he's studying. So till 30, you are feeding that child. And then suddenly at 31, you are expecting him or her to, now just earn, meet his 2 meals a day and, everything. It's not going to happen in an instance, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pampering and societal dynamics that is also
Mhm.
involved in that. So those are obviously two different zones, the societal beliefs and the education system in the terms of conversation. Obviously, there's a strong interlinking of the two, but there is also a picture that can be drawn apart from each other as well.
Yeah. So, and one more thing, actually, I was once traveling in a train. So in that train, there is one person who is teaching in some government school in maybe small town or small village somewhere. So I was discussing, teachers have to do this and that. So he said that the students are abusive people. I don't want, they are violent, and I don't want to go and teach them. I am going there because I am getting good salary. Otherwise, I let them do their life, something like that.
Hmm.
Uh,
See, now that
so
is letting go of student.
this is one thing. Another thing, when I was visiting my village, and there is one of so there are labor class people who are working. They have kids over there. So I asked my uncle that these kids are going to school or not. So they said that they
Hmm.
meant to be labor. They will grow and they will
Oh,
work.
that's a harsh statement.
So basically, I just want to say that I want you to think a bigger picture of this kind of thing, that not this not my uncle, the politician, or maybe they also want laborer people. They don't want you to grow and go against them,
Mm-hmm.
so basically, as you said, that people are preparing for exams for 30 years, means until age of 30. But basically, I just want to say that maybe they they when they go into the field, sometimes they get 5,000, 10,000 jobs. So they think that we need to push ourselves, upgrade, and maybe that's why UPSC education, they are forcing or they are spreading that kind of thinking that if you become IS officer, your lifestyle will become like this and that. So
Okay, Jay,
it's
let me give you another perspective of that. When we are saying that they are not doing, I have always had this discussion with one of my cousin. So he started earning at 20K a month, which is not a good salary, obviously. And in some other city, another state, and with all the dynamics, he used to literally save 1 or 2 thousand a month
Mhm.
and barely meeting his own meals and stuff. But now this cousin is now sitting at 1,40,000 per month
Mhm.
salary even. So now how it works, and when I was talking to him and I was like, how does this dynamic work? And he was like, you just need to start doing. If you'll
Mhm.
just say, no, 5,000 is very less for me, you have to start somewhere, right? That's the way I look at things. I
Mhm.
really don't look at the way that, okay, you're not getting what you're supposed to. There are people, literally doing M.Tech, B.Tech, MBA, XYZ thing, and then literally entering into, let's say, third grade um jobs, or third grade. By that, there is this position, right? Third grade teacher and stuff, and sometimes to third grade positions like peons and stuff. Now they
Mhm.
are like, I don't want to do that work, I need a government job, and for that I applied, and now here I am.
Mhm.
I just needed that security, and that's what I'm here for. So there are a lot of different pictures that I believe that we as an individual need to draw.
Mhm.
Is the perspective that I have, to be very precise to you. I don't look at it in a way that you're not getting something. You have to start. I always believe in the philosophy that if I want to have a school, let's say 10 years later, so, I don't believe in, planning into 10 days. If I want to have a school, I'll start today with free primary, with the room in my home. I'll
Mhm.
gradually get students. Let them get into LKG. Let them go into HKG. Long-term planning works when we are talking about the nation, which is a very larger picture. But
Mhm.
when we are talking of, something that I really want to do and is in my bucket list, and not doing it for a fact that, due to XYZ things, I don't find that's bit logical enough. Because if you'll just keep on thinking, you would never do it. And
True.
that has happened exactly with my YouTube channel. For years, it was in my, bucket list. I want
Mhm.
to have a YouTube channel. I want to have a YouTube channel. I want to have a YouTube channel. And I used to literally flip the page because I was like, no, that's not happening. I don't have a
Mhm.
life to show off. I don't have a life to showcase.
Mhm.
I don't have anything to showcase.
Yeah.
And I believe because of which I missed a lot of beautiful content. I
Mhm.
missed a lot of beautiful places that I have traveled to in the past. And now when I reflect on that, I'm like, there's only just guilt that sits with me. That if I would have the channel then, I would have grown it to this extent.
Mhm.
So I always believe then rather than, it's often said, no, that efforts matter more than words.
Mhm.
So I imply it in this way that the effort of taking, the decision of what you want to do, and taking, of course, the bad and the good. Sometimes it's a bit off track from what we were talking, but still I'll
Mhm.
quote this because I think it's relevant to talk about that. There are a lot of people who do sometimes very much hate comments to me.
Mhm.
I have a very small YouTube strength, but I get very, very hateful comments at times. And
Mhm.
obviously, we being individuals obviously get upset because of that. I'm like, why is this fellow, being so
Rude. Yeah.
this way, that way with me? But then in the end, I have that's their perspective towards life, right?
Mhm.
Maybe a person is falling, two people are watching at him.
Mhm.
One would say, oh, he's hurt. The other one would be like, oh, he should have walked carefully, no.
Mhm.
And the third person would not even bother about looking at this fellow. So
Mhm.
there's always a perspective towards life, and the way we look at it is the way it's devised. So when it comes to 5,000 or 10,000 of salary, maybe you are looking it from a different angle. I'm looking it from a different angle.